Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. Welcome to Tracy's Week in Review. I'm trying to see if that light. Hold on a second. I'm going to move that over just a little bit. Hold on a second. Okay, I got that done. I wanted to move it just a little bit over so you didn't see all of my closet. Thank you all for joining me. We've got a jam-packed show. Um If you don't know, this is the podcast I created after the NFL season ended. Um, I suffer from a disease called football withdrawal syndrome. It is a very, very real disease. And so I said, hey, what am I going to do every Saturday? No, every Sunday, then Monday night football, then Thursday night football, and then Saturday football for college. So this podcast came to be. Um, And I'm talking about that because the draft is next week. So if you're not a football fan, you might not want to watch this show like for the first half because I'm definitely going to talk about who got picked and what my thoughts are on it, who my team, the 49ers, picked, et cetera, et cetera. Remember, we got a whole bunch of bills to pay here, so let's get started. Subscribe to the channel. We're now at 362. 362 people have joined our cause for 1,000. Remember to subscribe. Subscribing is free, absolutely free. Doesn't cost you anything. Also, hit that notification button so that you know when I go live. Support me on Patreon. Patreon support helps me to continue buying lights because they keep going out. I want to get one of these, another one of these. I was given this one, but I want to buy another one that's very similar, so I can block the whole back. Um, so that support me on Patreon helps me to do that. Go and shop at my official merchandise store. You can buy t-shirts for now, but someday we'll expand to coffee mugs, notepads, totes, etc. Follow TRACYMedia Group on Facebook. If you can't take that down, just go to facebook.com and the search engine type TRACYMedia LLC. My picture will come up and you can follow. Once we get 100, I can podcast on YouTube. Remember to follow me on Rumble. I'm still looking for that one person on Rumble, one more person, and we can go on Rumble. Follow me on the Blue Sky and mark your calendars. Friday, May the 2nd at 8 p.m. I am sponsoring a channel fundraiser. The goal is to raise $700. The first 600 will go for StreamYard. The last 100 will go to getting the website back up. So join us probably from like 8 to 10. And I'll have more details probably next week. Help us to get 50 likes and 35 shares. And thank you, Rue. By the way, hello. The draft is in Titletown starting Thursday evening. Sure is. And I'm a football fan. I'll be on it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like all 4 days. I'm coming back to the show telling you my thoughts. That's just what it is. It is what it is. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? I want to briefly talk about the Carmelo Anthony case in Texas, in Frisco, Texas. Just a little bit of how I think the media has turned this into a race war when it's just not a necessary thing to do. I also want to talk about for some reason, some women decided to go into space. For some reason, Jeff Bezos is still flying people that make way too much money out into outer space. And Gail King in her comments talk about missing the moment. I also want to talk about I wanted to talk about Trump, but he really hasn't. Of course, he's doing something every week. I want to talk about the I don't know if concentration, the prison camps that Trump is sending people to, and his hint threat that Americans might be sent to camps camps overseas. And then finally, well, not finally, because I got something in the last 5 minutes. I also want to talk about the Democratic Party. Roll it up. It's over. Just roll it up. Call it a good experiment because it's over. And I'll tell you why I say that. So let's get started. I'm going to bring up this story. I'm going to do a share screen. And I don't know why this is doing what it is because I literally had this and so not the basketball player. Okay. Okay. So track meet turns tragic. So I didn't really want to call it that, but yeah, I guess you are right. But like I said, I'm going to talk about the Carmelo Anthony case. So I forget how long ago it was, like it's 2 weeks ago. Carmelo Anthony's 17, and I got problems with knowing his name. He's technically a minor. We shouldn't even know his name. But I guess when you're in Texas, they literally don't care. They'll just charge you as an adult. So Carmelo Anthony stands accused, because he's been indicted, I believe, of killing what's that child's name? I want to say Andrew Tate. Austin Metcalf. Oh my goodness. Austin Metcalf died at the hands of Carmelo Anthony. This was a track meet, not sponsored. It was a track meet sponsored by the school. Apparently, it rained, and Anthony took shelter, and Metcalf, the deceased, had an issue with it and just kept prodding and prodding. And Anthony said, leave me alone. You don't want, don't mess with me. And Austin kept advancing the situation. Anthony allegedly, because it's still alleged, that he stabbed Metcalf in the heart, and now he's deceased. There's a couple of things that bother me about this case. One, I already said it. Why do we know the names of these two children? These are literally children. They are under 18. They're children. We should not know either of their names, right? We just shouldn't know their names. Especially in a culture that presumes guilt, right? We just automatically are making, and I don't want to say Mr. because that's a child, but we're making Anthony guilty, and there's been no trial. The investigation is still going on, but the media has shown his face over and over, and it's because, again, Texas is charging him as an adult. I believe they're charging him with murder, but I'm thinking, and everybody who's watching this can correct me, wouldn't this be manslaughter? Because murder would mean he had intentions on killing Austin Metcalf, right? He intentionally killed him. Manslaughter is, yes, I killed him, but I didn't mean to. It wasn't his intention to. So I'm wondering why they didn't charge him with manslaughter and they just went for murder. Of course, it's Texas, so who knows? This could be their laws. I'm not from Heck, I'm not even familiar with the laws in our own state. But I kept thinking, well, why are they going for murder as opposed to manslaughter? Manslaughter would make more sense because the way the incident I just laid out, it doesn't seem to me that there's intention um, to commit murder. Another thing that bothers me, and I don't know whether it's just our media, the race element is just being played just ad nauseum. Carmelo Anthony is African American, and Austin Metcalf was white. And these examinations of our race relations, it's already bad enough. America's already a racist nation. And the media, in this case, to me, seems to be overplaying this. And again, this could just be me just seeing something that isn't there. But people, the way that the comments are um, coming in, it's like he should get the death penalty. He's a murderer. He's a gangster. He's a everything. And that whole racial component of he comes from a broken home. He's a truant. He's just not good for society. That has been overplayed. And trust and believe, I am not excusing any type of malice against anybody. Absolutely not. But I think the media is playing, and I know this is going to happen. I think they should take pause on making this a racial issue. We don't really need to stir up anything else. We have enough race problems in our country already, and we don't need to be stirring up more racial problems. And guys, give me your thoughts on this, because again, this is just being played as a black-white issue, and it just I don't see the end of it. It could be just to get clicks. It could be just get views, but I think it's doing more harm than good to frame um Anthony as this degenerate that's from a broken home, um, when we don't know all the facts, right? We don't know all the facts, but just what I've learned in the past couple of days, um, it's I don't want to jump to conclusions because obviously, Anthony is guilty. No, I'm sorry. Anthony is innocent until proven guilty. It has to be a trial. I don't know if it's going to be in Frisco, Texas. I don't know if they're going to move the trial somewhere else. But I think the way that this reporting is happening, making this a racial thing, it's just the wrong step. And I wish the media would do something else in its reporting and just report the facts. And there was also misrepresentation by the media. So someone started a GoFundMe account for, I believe, both families. But the family of Carmelo Anthony, they raised, I believe, $430,000 for that campaign. People donated to the defense fund. And the reporting was that they built a house and they were driving new cars and they were spending the money in an irresponsible way and not necessarily on their child's defense. And I just found that to just be abhorrent. One, because I'm launching a GoFundMe campaign and you can contribute to it. That money doesn't come, it doesn't matter whether you raise $20, $5, $50 million. That money takes a while to get to its intended destination. Um, you have to report to the government. You have to the people who host it, like GoFundMe, if they're using GoFundMe, they get a piece of it. I think it's like 10%. Let me double check that because I think it's 10%. Let's see. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, so GoFundMe takes 2.9% of donations plus a 30 cents per donation. So whatever 2.9%, because y'all know math is not my strong suit, is that's how much you get. So they get theirs first. Then I'm assuming that the government is going to just get your money. It don't really matter. The government is going to get your money somehow, some way. You can count on it. It's going to happen, right? Then they get theirs, and then the family finally gets theirs. But to report that they were spending it on a house when there was literally no proof of that. And again, that type of irresponsible reporting plays right back into the racial component. It plays into this, well, they're being deceitful, and this is the way Black people are. That's the way I took it. And again, I would love to hear your comments on this because I would love to have that discussion because I think it's really apparent to me that the media framed it that way on purpose. Now, I'm not taking sides again. We don't know what happened. We don't know what the intention of, I'm not going to say Mr. again because that's a child. We don't know what Carmelo Anthony's intentions was when he allegedly, and I'm still saying allegedly because he has not been found guilty in a court of law, stabbed to death Austin Metcalf. The only thing we know is Austin Metcalf's life was cut short. The behavior of the father, though, it's ironic. I think when Carmelo Anthony's mother held a press conference, he tried to show up. And I get it. If you lose a child, and I don't have children, so I don't know this to be a fact. But I can imagine losing a child in the way that he did and believing, yeah, this kid killed my son. But what is showing up to the press conference allegedly? Now, I could be wrong about this, but I think he showed up to the press conference and had to be restrained. I don't know what that accomplishes, right? I thought it was really in poor taste, but I get why he did it, right? Again, your son is gone. And if you're his twin brother, because apparently he was a twin, he died in the arms of his twin brother. So he's going through his own pain. So it would make sense that, you're angry with this family and you want answers. But again, I'm not sure showing up to like holding your own press conference. Now that makes sense to me because you want to say, I thank the public for their support. And those type of things. You haven't heard from his Austin Metcalf's mother, and you haven't heard from Carmelo Anthony's father, which I found really strange. I don't know why I found that strange, but I'm like, okay, so the other parents aren't going to talk. Because I know Carmelo Anthony's parents, they're married and have been married for a long time. And Austin's parents are divorced. And they were living, I'm assuming, with their mother. But we haven't heard anything from her, nothing. And we've heard nothing from Mr. Anthony, Carmelo's dad. So that I found really strange. So again, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. But again, I wish the media would just stop with the making this a racial war. Again, we got enough racial problems in this country already. We have systemic racism that's running amok. We don't need the media adding more to it for clicks and likes and shares and things as such. And so that's my opinion on that. Doesn't look like there's any comments for me to go to, so I'm just gonna keep talking. Also said I wanted to talk about 4547 because that's what I call Trump. I don't actually like call him Trump anymore. 4547 recently had the president of, I want to say, Ecuador. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on. I think it was. Is it Ecuador? Wait a minute. Y'all tell me this one. I think it's Ecuador. 2025. Oh, I can't think of the country. Y'all help me. What is it, Ecuador or Venezuela? It's one of those two countries where Trump is sending those, the Trump administration, or 4547's administration is sending those that they believe are involved in gang activity and crime. And there was a question by someone, and I can't remember who it was, a reporter that essentially asked 4547, hey, what about American prisoners? And he was like, yeah, I think we should send them to those camps also. And that's very problematic. Because if you're an American citizen, like I'm an American citizen, born, bred, raised, right? I was born in this country, raised in this country. I don't know any other country as home. You just get to say that, and nobody says, hey, what about, like, no reporter said, hey, there's this thing called due process that every American citizen is guaranteed. You just get to throw people into prison the way you want them to. And what's the criteria for throwing people in prison? Is it going to be Americans that protest against Gaza? Is it going to be people that protest against what his administration is doing? Is it going to be people that criticize him? What is the criteria for this deportation and to these camps? And our tax, well, no, I don't want to say that because MMTers are going to say, Tracy, you know better. But there's money being paid to these countries to host the prisoners. I'll say it in that way. And, there's been court rulings, and even the Supreme Court said, hey, you got to bring them back. But the administration is just ignoring it. They haven't brought back anybody to my knowledge. Now, maybe they have, and it hasn't been on the news, although you would think that would probably be on the news. They're just ignoring it. And I'm like, well, okay, are you going to hold them in contempt of court? That would be good. That would be the thing. If you violate a court ruling, you're held in contempt of court. But of course, the Supreme Court is more conservative now, so they're going to do whatever 4547 says. But it's really, 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 really troubling that he could even float that idea and say it, because he doesn't have an original thought. Somebody put that thought in his head. Somebody said, hey, why don't we have it where Americans can also be taken to these camps? Let's just throw all your detractors in prison. He's already floated running for a third term like he thinks he's going to win. Like, is he serious? He would almost be better off, and I'm not saying to do this, if he just didn't leave. But of course, there are, you know, if he actually did that, Secret Service and the FBI would just take him and say, hey, you got to get out. But he's already floated that idea. So this idea of putting, again, I want to say this so people can understand. Citizens who have either green card status or they're like me, they were born in this country. Sending them overseas to some concentration style death camp, because that's what they are. And nobody raises an eyebrow about this. And it's really, I don't want to say I'm scared, because I'm not, because I knew this was going to happen. I mean, literally, again, people are like, well, you didn't pay attention to Project 2025. And that's not the case. I always paid attention to Project 2025. I just kept wondering where the Democratic response was to it. Right? There was just nothing that they said that would, like, hey, we're going to do this, and this. And there's no Project 2028. But that's going to be a later conversation that we'll have later on. But I think Americans need to be concerned about this. And there are, because there's protests all across the country. There was the hands-off protest, which I talked about in depth last week. And I thought this is just a ploy to get people back in the Democratic Party. I still think that nobody's demonstrated me anything different than that. But at least people are aware that this is happening. And I appreciate the people that are showing up to these town hall meetings, no matter which side they're on, right? Because you have the Democratic side or their supporters saying, you know what, you're not doing enough. You're being lackadaisical, you're being lazy, you're not fighting. But then you have Republican supporters going to their Congress people saying, hey, you've gone too far. This isn't what we voted for. So for me, it's a matter of both, something that I would have hoped would have happened sooner, but both sides of the coin are mad at their supposed leaders. And they should have seen this coming. I know that our favorite MGT, and I won't say her name, held a press conference basically berating people that actually voted for her. We had Senator Jim Banks here in Indiana when he was confronted by a person that lost their federal job saying, you probably deserved it. This is how emboldened the Republican and Democratic side, to be honest, have become. Right? They're just like, oh, what are you gonna do? Probably deserved it. Who says that? Who sits there and says, yeah, you deserved it? I would never tell somebody, unless they like steal from the company or do something like that you deserve it. What happens if you lose your election? You deserved it? What? The fact that he could even say that and didn't apologize. It's like, I'm not apologizing. I'm like, well, do you, I guess, but come on. This government that we have is just emboldened to serve the special interests. When it comes down to it, that's what they're doing. They're not serving you. They're not serving me. They're not even serving their voters or supporters or detractors. They're just supporting whoever gives them the most money. And until, we get money out of politics, You can say overturn Citizens United, and that's not going to happen. The courts aren't going to do that. But you could have candidates say, hey, I'm not taking special interest money. That could happen, but I doubt. But until the public demands, hey, I'm not going to vote for you if you take special interest money. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, a Green, Justice for All. It doesn't matter. If you take special interest money, I'm not going to vote for you. Until the public holds them accountable, don't look for anything to change. The chances of Citizens United being overturned by this Supreme Court, I would say it's 100% not going to happen. I'm very confident in saying that. Like I said, but the public could demand, hey, J.D. Vance, Pete Buttigieg, whoever runs, we're not voting for you if you take that money. And leave it at that. And that would actually change. Of course, the candidate themselves could say, hey, I'm not taking special interest money, but look for that. I think I can name on maybe 10 Congress people that don't take special interest money. And then the rest of if there's a total of 435 senators and Congress people, and I only know like 11 or 12 that don't take it, you do the math and you figure out, hey, what's going on? So I thought I would bring that up. So what do I want to? I got to talk about this space exploration. So apparently, you can pay to fly in outer space. I didn't know that Jeff Bezos was still flying people into outer space. I thought this was a fad. I didn't think it was going to last. But apparently, he's still running his, I don't want to say it on this show, but male genitalia shaped apparatus into space. I don't know what it's shaped like now. No, it's a circle now. Take that back. It's a circle. It's like a circle. So some people flew into space. And I'm going to tell you who it was because there were some notable people on there. It was all females. Okay. This took place on Monday. So his fiance was one of them. Gayle King was another. Katy Perry was another. Let's see who the rest were. It was a 10-minute trip. Their flight on the Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket lasted 10 minutes, 21 seconds. It took off from the launch site in West Texas and landed in El Paso at 8:30 a.m. I'm trying to see all the other Lauren okay, so Gayle King, Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez which is the fiance of Jeff Bezos. Aisha Bowie, a former rocket scientist at NASA. Kiana Flynn, a film producer. Amanda Nguyen, a bioastronautics research scientist. And I'm wondering how much, because I'm typing in the background, everybody. So how much does Jeff Bezos charge people to fly in space? Okay, so to fly the Blue Origin, they don't make their prices public. However, it does require $150,000 deposit. Sometimes they had, and sometimes people will donate. Um, but it does require $150,000 deposit. A seat for the first crew was auctioned off for $28 million. Blue Origin's pricing is likely to be tailored to the individual passenger, considering factors like social capital and in alignment with the launch's purpose. Some passengers, like William Shatner, have flown for free. So let's just say it costs $150,000. Who out here has $150,000? You already automatically have to be rich to make a deposit. If you were one of the people, if they auction off a seat and it got 28 million, like Jeff Bezos pocketed $28 million, how much carbon monoxide poisoning, and I think that's what it's called, like the discharge waste that a flight like that, it's not like NASA where they have the same waste, but they're researching something. They aren't going up there for 10 minutes and just coming back down. They're like going up there to like explore whatever. Like you're going to have, if it costs $150,000 deposit, so that, and you're up there for 10 minutes, that's like $15,000 a minute. Wow. Who is sitting here with $150,000 for a deposit? Like, what is the criteria for this? Do you have to be like, I don't want to say stupid, but like, are you chasing clout? I don't know what these women were chasing. And Gail King, stop asking us, have we been to space? Girl, we don't have $150,000 deposit. We do not have $150,000 to be making deposits to go to space. I don't know what the purpose of this trip is. I don't know what the purpose of Bezos flying people into quote unquote outer space. Like, what's the mission? Like, when NASA goes, there's a specific reason. They want to study the Earth's effects on the planet Venus. And of course, I'm just making up stuff now. But there's a reason why they're going. I don't understand the purpose of Blue Origin. Let me see if I can find it. Mission of Blue Origin. Okay, so now I can read it. Blue Origin's mission is to increase access to space, ultimately aiming for a future where millions of people can live and work in space for the benefit of Earth. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm going to go off on this one. Nelson. Hello, cousin Nelson. They landed in El Paso and luckily were not picked up by Border Patrol. Confused for illegal aliens. They want you to live in space. They want you to live and work. Yeah, I'm going to go faithful on here. If God wanted you to live in space, don't you think he would have made it so you could live in space? You're not supposed to live in space. Space is not for you to live in. You're meant to live on Earth, a planet that's the third rock from the sun. Your body is not built to live in outer space. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's one thing to say, hey, who and how you gonna work? I already went over this a couple weeks ago when I was talking about the astronauts that went up to space and they were stuck up there for like a year and a half, and they came, they're come back and what the effects of on their body's gonna be. These folk got the mission to live and work in space. What do you do for recreation? Wait a minute. Also, the vision involves lowering the cost of space travel, increasing asset utilization, and reducing waste. Blue Origin's efforts are focused on reusable rockets like New Shepard and New Glenn. They are also developing lunar landings and working with NASA on missions to Artemis V. NASA, y'all should be ashamed for working with this. This don't, you know what? You can't, I'm going to say it again. You cannot, your body is not meant to live in outer space. You're not built for that. You're not built for that. You can't do it. You cannot live in outer space. You can live on Earth. We have the resources. If you're talking about living in outer space, that means, do you go through a training process where your body gets used to it? Like, are they going to build like houses in outer space? Like, is the house going to be floating out there? How are they going to eat? What are they going to do for recreation? You can't go to the football game, if you're outer space. You don't get to go to grandma's house. When you're up there, it ain't no just coming down quickly, right? And then again, your body is, if you're living in outer space, as their mission says, and you want to work in outer space and live in outer space, what job goes to outer space? No, let me backtrack. What criteria do you have to meet to even go, right? We already said you got to have $150,000 deposit to go on one of these. So miss me with the lies of lowering costs, because most Americans can't even afford a $400 emergency, much less $150,000 for a 10-minute trip to go to space. So when you pay this deposit and it's going to be a cost, do you go through training? Do they say, hey, your body is going to, you're going to be gravity free, and this is what's going to happen to your body? Do you get to come back down to earth and then go back up? This is just really disturbing. And they have a website. Oh my gosh, they have a website. Unleash their creativity. And you can't live in outer space. I'm going to just keep saying that. You cannot live in outer space. And why NASA is sitting here going, they got the nerve to have careers. Let's see what they have. Safety engineer. And then, like, if they need food, right? Is there going to be an outer space? Is this going to be like the Jetsons? Like, they're living in these. I don't think the Jetsons lived in outer space. No, they didn't. They lived on Earth, but they had like the towers that went up, and then they flew in a car. So no, this ain't going to be like the Jetsons. Let me take that back. So you're going to work in space and live in space. So you go to work. I don't know where, because what kind of job you gonna do in outer space? The heck I know. So you work in outer space, you get off work, and then you go home to a shuttle or some type of spacecraft. So then you're floating around, because now you're living in space, so you have no weight on you. You had to go to the bathroom, you had to drink water, I don't even know how they exercise, right? Like, the whole concept, like, are they in communication with people on Earth? And then what happens if they say, you know what, I changed my mind, I want to go back home to wherever? Then their bodies are going to experience all of those effects that I talked about a couple of weeks ago, where gravity hits your tail, and you could experience depression. You could experience like headiness, headaches. I mean, like, it seems like this site is, and I'm looking on here, it's like they aren't even taking this into consideration. And what if something goes wrong? Like, Like they could be up there, right? And just something just goes wrong. Are they going to send a crew up there to fix it? Who's going to be paying for this? You know it's going to require tax money. Let me backtrack for all the MMTers. You know they're going to try to come to the government and ask for money if they already aren't getting it, right? Um, this is getting me concerned because I'm like, well, wait a minute, you guys think about the social interaction. Who are they acting with socially, right? Is it going to be just a giant, big old spaceship with other families living in space? How do you resolve conflicts? How do you divide resources? Is there a grocery store? Is there a bank? They can't drive cars because they're in outer space. Oh, there's so many questions I have about this now. There are so many questions I have. But this 10-minute little trip, stop. This is not a small step for womankind. This is 10 to 11 wealthy women that had $150,000 lying around to fly up, not even in technical outer space. I mean, technically they were in outer space, but they were only there for 10 minutes. It ain't like they went up there and just stayed for like a week. Well, okay, you stayed a week. Good for you. No, you stayed up there 10 minutes. This is not breaking the glass window. This isn't a big step for women. Stop selling it like that. We are not buying it. Again, you are 11 up to 11 wealthy women that have $150,000 to waste plus more. Because if that's just a deposit, imagine how much it is to take the flight, right? And who's out here paying that? Who out here? If you have $150,000 to waste for a trip, a 10-minute trip to space, cash at me at $TRACYMedia74, because apparently you got money to waste. I don't get the point of this. I don't understand what the goal is. I read their mission and I'm still like, what? But again, I already know they're going to come to the government and ask for money. If, like I said, if they already aren't getting it, what's the end goal? Like, what is it that they want to accomplish? Are they talking about sending prisoners up there? That could very well be. And what type of medical criteria are you going to have? Are they going to have doctors up there, right? So, and then, like I said, it's going to be just this one big, huge craft, or is it going to be little spacecrafts flying around? So many questions. I'm sorry, but my meter is that little pump. It's got this little tag in it, and it's making it hard for me to concentrate. I'm just not understanding. I'm not understanding this at all. At all. So the last topic I want to talk about before I get to my thoughts on Easter, the Democratic Party. Y'all pack it up. It's over. It's literally over. When you seriously, the fact that I even have to talk about this to say that it's over, you should know it's over. Who in the world thought that Stephen A. Smith should be a candidate for president? Who? I mean, he meets technically he meets the criteria, right? He's at least 35. He was born in the United States. He's lived in the United States for 14 years. So technically he meets the requirements to be president of the United States like I do. But come on, is y'all for real? Is this the best that you have? Is this going to be your one shining moment in time? Is this supposed to make us come back to the Democratic Party? Are you serious? The fact that pundits are even having this discussion is laughable. It is just hilarious that people are taking this seriously. One, he ain't running. He can say the door is open. He's not running. He's not running. He's not running. But the fact that you're taking this seriously, like you're sitting here making discussions, talking about what types of policies he might have, you'd be better off getting me. You literally would. At least I'm a community organizer. Like I can say, hey, I worked in the community and I did this and I did a Medicare for All march and da 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 da. No, y'all saying this like y'all serious. These pundits, stop paying these pundits. Tell them to do something else with their life or teach at a university or something, because this is sad. It's like almost so sad, but it's not. It makes me want to laugh that this is the best that you have. Not Kamala Harris or Kamala, whichever one. You would expect her to be leading because she lost the last time. Okay, well, that makes sense. She was a nominee last time, so it's a good chance she will be this time. But you expect names that you know, like Gavin Newsom. Be respectful, Tracy. Gavin Newsom, who kind of like detracted his own bid when he had Steve Bannon on his podcast. Like, dude, what you really thinking? You expect those type of names to be at the front. You're not expecting ESPN, Disney Channel, ABC commentator to be one of your. The fact that he's even polling, you should be like, you know what? I mean, if you're gonna just do that, just go get common person, right? Get somebody off of the streets. Somebody that like I said, a real community organizer, not like Obama, the fake kind. But this is it for y'all. This is hilarious to me. I'm like, they're sitting here like, yes, and I think he would be great on foreign. What? What? Oh my goodness. I mean, he has a better chance than AOC, who, girl, don't run. Don't run. You and Stephen A. Smith don't run. Just don't. Because then we're just going to laugh at you more. But this is what you tell the public. You got Trump running out here, 45, 47, running out here like a Manchi. And this is what you come up with? Come on, y'all. Come on. Y'all gotta be joking. This has got to be some underhanded trick that the Democrats are giving us so that we can be distracted and their real nominee, because they're not going to have a primary. If you think the Democrats are going to have a primary, you're out of your mind. They're going to pick who they want their nominee to be, just like they've done the last 3 past elections, and they'll lose again. But this is why y'all should just join the Justice for All party. You should be real tired of stuff like this. These discussions, they're just like, y'all serious? Like, you real serious with this? You're sitting here telling me that as many issues, and I'm talking about like somebody I would take seriously, right? And it doesn't even have to be somebody that's held legislative office. I don't personally think that should be a requirement. I'm all for regular citizens taking up that mantle. So in that case, I would look, but his politics is off. I'm like, dude, are you serious? I'm a capitalist. Yeah, I know me and capitalism, I don't really flow with capitalism like that. He's already said he doesn't want to campaign, which is why I think he's not going to run. But the pundits, who is y'all DNC hiring to go on TV and make themselves look like idiots talking about this? You should just be like, hey, we're looking forward to the primary process. Again, they won't have a primary. They're going to go in a room, smoke some cigars, and decide who's going to be the nominee, and then tell you, vote for them, because they're not J.D. Vance, Chris Christie, the governor of Florida, MGT, blah, 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 because you can't help a present evil like Nikki Haley or fill in the blank Republican, right? That's what they're going to do. And I just had to talk about that because I just think it's hilarious that, like, you're wanting me to take you like, you'll criticize third-party candidates and say, oh, they aren't serious. You can't be serious with float names like Stephen A. Smith. Like I said, if you're going to go for a person that's never held elected office, I literally don't have a problem with that. But I got a real problem when that person's politics are just like contrary to what I would think would take. And of course, he capes for the Democratic Party, which is what I ultimately have um, a problem with. The Democratic Party are paying Bernie Sanders and AOC and the media coverage on the progressive talking points just to get people. Nelson, if I could give you a gold star, you would literally get it, because that's the issue. They're just pandering people back with all these rallies, hands off, hands on, whatever they want to call them. Again, I said it before last week. I don't have a problem with people going to the rallies, but you got to tell me something to do. And until you tell me something to do, and stop having it in these all white, ain't nobody of color, ain't no color nowhere. Just a sea of white people. Just a sea of them. Oh, we had it in Los Angeles. Look at the crowds that are coming to those rallies, right? None of them voted for Trump. And it's just a sea of white people. Prove me wrong. All you gotta do is prove me wrong. I'm getting my what I'm gonna read here at the very end up here. But it's like, again, you say that third parties aren't serious. Dr. Cordell West, he didn't take it seriously. And you're going to have pundits go on TV and say Stephen A. Smith. I'm keep repeating myself. I have no problem with a common citizen running for president of the United States, as long as you meet the 3 qualifications that I've said. I have a problem with, I'm just going to cape for the Democratic Party. I'm just going to say whatever they tell me to say. No, that's what I have a problem with. If you want to be Joe Public and come out for Medicare for all and reparations and $27 minimum wage, yes, union worker, run for president. Do it, please. But y'all can do, I know y'all can do better than this. And I'm not even a fan of the Democratic Party. If it got destroyed tomorrow, I'd be very happy. I'm just going to be 100% honest. If it got destroyed tomorrow, I would be very happy. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't say, boy, they had some good years. No. I'm trying to bring up something here. Y'all got to do better than this. This is it. Y'all just, or it could fall into a theory of they just want to lose, right? They aren't even trying. Like the public's making more noise than they are. Like their supporters are protesting more than they're making noise. But since it's almost an hour, I'm going to cut it short. But I did want to reflect. Today is Easter Sunday. My hair looked a whole lot better, but I just put it in a ponytail because all the curls fell out. So I'm like, I'm just going to put it in a ponytail. So I'm just going to read this and just something for you to think about. And we'll head out with this. Jesus Christ, 33 of Nazareth, died on Friday on Mount Calvary, also known as Golgotha, the place of the skull. Betrayed by the apostle Judas, Jesus was crucified by the Romans by order of the ruler Pontius Pilate. The causes of death were crucifixion, extreme exhaustion, severe torture, and loss of blood. Jesus Christ, a descendant of Abraham, was a member of the house of David. He was the son of David. He was the son of the late Joseph, a carpenter of Nazareth, and Mary, his devoted mother. Jesus was born in a stable in the city of Bethlehem of Judea. He is survived by his mother, Mary, his faithful apostles, numerous disciples, and many other followers. Jesus was self-educated and spent most of his adult life working as a teacher. Jesus was occasionally worked as a medical doctor, and it is reported that he healed many patients. Up until the time of his death, Jesus was teaching and sharing the good news of healing the sick, touching the lonely, feeding the hungry, and helping the poor. Jesus was most noted, but was noted for telling parables about his father's kingdom and performing miracles, such as feeding 5,000 people with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and healing a man who was born blind. On the day before his death, he held a Last Supper, celebrating the Passover feast, at which he foretold his death. The body was quickly buried in a stone grave, which was donated by Joseph Arimathea, a loyal friend of the family. By order of Pontius Pilate, a boulder was rolled in front of the tomb. Roman soldiers were put on guard. In lieu of flowers, the family has requested that everyone try to live as Jesus did and believe in him. Donations may be sent to anyone in need. Happy Easter. I will see you Saturday when the topic will be top Motown 25 groups. Justice for Here will be back live next week. And then this show will come back on Sunday. Thank you for watching. I'm going to take myself down. Have a great week.